You done read it many times. And I'm gonna just read it. You don't read it in our Bibles because you passed Genesis. You passed Genesis the 11th chapter. And he said, and he read, he said, and the whole world and the whole earth was a one language and one speech. And it came to pass, and they journeyed from the east, and they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelled there. And they said one to another, go to let us make brick and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime they for mortar. And they said, go, let us build us a city and a tower whose top may reach unto heaven. Wow. Can you imagine that? Trying to build a tower to heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower. Wait a minute. He probably said, I like to paraphrase. He said, okay, keep the praises up. I'll be right back. I'm going to have to go down and see about this here. This is above everybody else's pay grade. I need to go down and see about this here. And he said, and the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men built. And the Lord said, who said it? Behold, the people is one. And they have all one language. And this they begin to do. And now nothing would restrain from them which they have imagined to do. One accord, oneness. He said this. He said, go to let me go down and there and confound their language, and they may not understand one another's speak. So the Lord scattered them abroad thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore, in this name, it was called Babel. You know what Babel means? Confusion. Because the Lord did there confound the language and all the earth, and from thence the Lord scattered abroad upon the face of all the earth. One accord. So I was getting back about changing. I'm still getting back to the point. We got to change the way we think. See, when he spoke that to me, he didn't give me the answer right then. Why I need to change the way I thought. See, when we come in here, we got to have a corporate mindset. See, we need one another. See, this body, the body, It don't work by yourself. I don't care how great you are, how many names you got behind your name. We need one another. God designed it that way. That's why he told the disciples, that's why he told them, he prayed. He said, make them one as you and I are one. Let this mind be in you that's also in Christ Jesus. Because, see, he ain't giving but one message. Now, I had this. And I'm sitting there, and God telling me I got to change the way I think. I said, okay. I knew what he want me to do. I didn't know why he want me to do. This was 3 years ago. It'll be 4 years. She been gone with me 4 years this month. This was 3 years ago. Friday, the prayer. We came here to pray that Friday night. And I went on the other side, and Sister Glenda was over there. I went over there to talk to her, to speak to her. And we got to talking, and she said something. She said, Brother Anthony, she said, now I understand what you were saying. She said, now I know what you were saying now. I can't think but one way. And when she said that, I kind of walked off, and bam, I got my answer. Very simple. See, first of all, you got to know how God speaks to you. See, or how God use you. See, God, I'm going to tell you how, I'm coming back to that. Tell how God use you. God used me with simple things. You can take something and relate it to the church. You can see, I could take a house, tear it down, and show you every part of the church in the house, in the building of a house. That's where he used me. See, you have to know how God speak to you. See, you got to know his voice too. See, understand something. It's Sister Sharita called my name. We in here. And if she called my name, I don't turn around to Sister Leah and ask her, what did you say? I know her voice. See, we have to know his voice. See, if your child out there, and if you call your child name, if his name is Carl, and he out there playing, there's a lot of Carls out there. There may be some more of them out there. But ain't but one of them gonna hearken to that name. Because he know his daddy name. He know his mama, not his daddy, his voice. Because my mama used to do me like that. And I said, she called me. I said, hello. She said, this is your mama. I said, okay, mama. I think I know your voice after 60 some years. And I used to mess with my dad. But knowing God's voice. So you got to know when he's speaking to you. And I know when I walked from over there, he was speaking. I said, oh, I got the answer then. 3 years. See, we ask questions. See, I always say if you want an answer, you want the answer to something, ask a question. You would think, God, why you took it 3 years? He had a purpose for it. Took me 3 years to give me an answer. Second of all, you got to know what tool you is. You got to know how he used you. See, I told you I like to use these illustrations. If you going in there to work on a sink, don't take a saw with you. You need a wrench. So you have to know what kind of tool you is, how God used you. Now that saw got a purpose. It's got a purpose to cut wood, but you ain't trying to cut wood with a crescent wrench. So I have to, you have to know how God used you, how he speak to you. The lady asked me one day, she was saying, you see, I'm going to get back. I'm going to answer that question. She asked me, she was saying, my cousin, every time he date this girl, he meet a girl and he give her a ring. I said, do he know what he doing? See, we know what rings mean. Ring mean covenant. He gives her a ring. Dating a week, 1 week, he gave her a ring. I said, let me explain something to you. You see, God used me, this how he used. I like to use natural thing. Okay. If you go to buy a house, when you're looking for a house, you find a house. What do? And you like that house and you want to buy that house. You put down earnest money. When a man, let's get that straight too. When a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. When a male finds a wife, he finds a good thing. When the man, when he finds the woman that he wants to marry, what do? He gives her an engagement ring. So what that's telling you? When they gave it for the house, that means you cannot take no more proposal for this house. When you get that woman that wedding ring, that engagement ring, when she's accepts it, she can't entertain no more offers. See now, so now we're gonna get to the closing. So now he found what he was looking for. He found the house. He found the woman. Oh, the earnest money and the engagement ring. But that's not the complete covenant. So when they go to closing, what do? You bring the rest of the money, the down payment. When you go to the altar, now you bring the wedding ring. Now you completed the whole thing now. I said, go back and tell him. Do he know what he doing? See, the point I'm using that because know how God used you. Every one of us is individuals. but we're one. It's like the body. This body, we got individual components, but we're one. We have to be on one accord. See, use natural. See, everything's across the board. The natural thing. If I'm gonna walk back there to that door there, everything on this body got to be in agreement to go back there. I don't think I'm gonna get to that back door if my arm say I ain't going. Ain't no way. Everything gonna be on one accord. See, that's how it's accomplished. One accord. See, what's wrong with the church? We ain't speaking the same language. That's what done happened. See, they got a rule over here and over here. This church, and now we got a disagreements on this and same. I'm not gonna even get into. You know what I'm talking about. We got to get back on one accord. We got to get back to thinking alike, not like each other. No, 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 no. Like him, because he is giving one message. And when we get back to that, same thing in Genesis 11, ain't nothing they couldn't accomplish. He said they was on one accord. Acts the second chapter, when they was in the upper room, that's how the Holy Spirit came in, because they was on one accord. The civil rights movement, why you think it was so successful? They had one message. They was on one accord. We should be the first one they ought to know about one accord. A basketball game. 2 or 3 years ago, I don't know how many years it was, Milwaukee and Phoenix. Phoenix had the better team. Phoenix was up 2-0 going home. Up 2-0. All the Milwaukee fans were standing outside saying, Bucks in 6. They didn't even have a win. They was outside chanting, Bucks in 6. It was on one accord. See, why you think the devil attack the marriage? Especially a Christian marriage. Because he's threatened. He knew if you ever get on one accord, ain't nothing can stop you. That's why he fight in the church. He know this here. He divided Adam and Eve. He went to her. Oh no, no, no. We look at that and we put all the blame on her. We know she was deceived. Yes, she was. He wasn't around the corner when she was doing this here. He was right there with with her. He knew he had to divide them. If you go back and read it, because I like to ask these questions. I look at stuff and I'm like, He said he gave to her. See, first of all, it was already done in a way. He said she looked upon it and it looked good for food. Hmm. The eating really didn't do it. That's just, we want to use a better way. It might have said just it consummated it. But she done looked at it. See, that what got her. See, this what gets her. This here. See, when you look up on her with lust, you already done committed before you even did it. She looked at the tree and it looked good for food. See, he knew they was on one accord. Let me tell you why. I'm gonna go back down. Cause see, this got me. And I'm sitting here and I'm reading this here. He said she ate and she gave to her husband and he ate. And then their eyes were open. Whoa, let me back up for a minute. When she ate, why her eyes weren't open? Because if her eyes would have been open when she ate, you think she would have gave it to him? She would have saw, She said, and then their eyes was open. I wrestled with that. I said, oh, very simple. They was one. We was having the Bible study. Came back to, he was saying Jesus he came to the Jews. Paul came to the Gentiles. And why? Getting us back. What's the purpose? Getting us back one with the Father. I looked in it. You ain't read in there nowhere that he told Eve any of this stuff because she was in him. They was one. That's why he said, you two shall be one. Ephesians say, you are two and you shall become one. One accord. Get back. So I'm looking at this here and I'm like, oh, I understand now. So now, going back to with Sister Glenda, and I started walking back, and bam, he started speaking. He said, why he wanted me to change my mind. And he gave me simple. Sometimes God do stuff, it can be just as simple. You like, I don't know nothing. So I'm serious. He said, he said, you don't put new wine in old wine skin. I'm like, bam. That's why a lot of times God can't do it. We have to change it. See, we got these old wine skins, and God ain't gonna put no new wine in them. We got to change the way we think. See, we come in this kingdom, we can't bring that world over in him, think it gonna work over here. No. You get married. This thing have to change. You don't think no more. Hey, we told a couple one time came to our house and they want to sit down and talk to us. We said, okay. And you had to know if you knew my wife, she didn't cut no corners. She didn't cut no punch. I'm talking about when we got through talking with them, they went the opposite direction. They did not marry each other. They stopped dating. She didn't cut. She told her to. Because we told her. And I'm telling brother, your friends, I'm sorry. That should be your best friend right there. Before your mama, before your daddy, and let me get a little personal, before your children. They didn't have, they sit there and looked at us, and she was wrong. And then, hey, but going back, you have to, we got to change the way we think. See, God want to do something. Why a lot of things ain't changed for us? Why a lot of things ain't happening? We still trying to put this new wine in old wine skins. Everywhere you go, you get on a team, you got to think team. Ain't no I in team. I ain't never seen a quarterback or a running back make all these yards by himself. He can't block for himself. He can't throw the ball and catch the ball too. He needs somebody else. See, we need each other. But we got to first, wait a minute, I got to get rid of this old wineskin. I told you I went to take a class, took a motorcycle class. Had a young guy now, I'm telling me he's younger than my son. And I realized something. This author, I had to give you the background of it. This author, it's on. Okay. This author, Lord, okay. This author tolling one out. I said, nah, I ain't taking the class no more. I ain't gonna take the class. They called me. And I'm sitting at home. And when I told her it out, I called my wife. And I told her I had an accident. To tell her I had an accident, she said, you had an accident. I didn't even say nothing. I sit at home. I'll get to a point to tell you why. And I sit on a chair. A 60-year-old man want to cry. Thought I knew how to ride a bike. I didn't know how. Thought I did. So I go to the store and they call me if I'm gonna take the class. And I was just fit to say no. And something came back to me. See, we have to be the first, you know, we had to take our own medicine sometime. My son, he used to ride his bicycle every day. And he come from school, he ride that bike. And I know I come from work, he'd be riding his bike. 2 or 3 days, I see he wasn't riding the bike. So I said, Teresa, why couldn't he ride the bike? He failed. I politely went in his room. Come on, let's go. Get back on that bicycle. If you quit on that, what else you gonna quit on? And them words came back to me. And like, oh man. I told the man, yeah, I'm coming. When I gets in the class, you had to take 2 days of class before you even get on it. And I done rode one. I done took a ride on one. And when I started taking that class, I saw how it scared me. Not her. Who else I have put in danger? Thought I knew how. But it ain't the point. The point was this young guy was, and there was probably three of us. The young guy, one of them, he came and he didn't come back no more. I told this young guy, I said, you will learn it faster than me. He said, sir, how? He said, you done rode a motorcycle before. I said, yeah. I said, I got to get rid of all the bad habits before I can get the good. You don't ever have them. See, you can put the wine in that bottle there, but you couldn't put it in this bottle right here because I had to get rid of that old wine skin. And that's what got me. We got to change the way we think. Situations will change if we just change our thought. See, that's the first thing God do. That's the first thing he do with the disciples. He get them to change their mind. He had to change how they think. See, look at Peter before the cross and after the cross. You know why the children of Israel couldn't, went around the mountain for 40 years? God couldn't change their mind. Only thing they knew was Egypt. And you got to think, when these soldiers coming, they was no fighters. They were servants. They said, you gonna leave us, bring us out here to die? He give them food. We the same way. It's the same thing. We do the same thing. We look at them. See, you got to understand something. It's worse for us. You know why? They was making history. We is reading history. We got an example. We saw them. But to get back to my point, the whole thing is getting rid of these old wine skins. Change the way you think. And I'm talking about it's a process. I'm changing. I had to change. He said, I want to do a new thing. But he said, I can't put no new wine in old wine skins. Most of all, we got to get on one accord with him. We get on one accord with him. We can get one accord with each other. Ain't nothing we can't do. Ain't nothing we can't accomplish. Why you think? See, that's why we have a problem. We have a little minor problem now as a black race because we was divided. I'm telling you, even in the wrong thing, you gonna build a tower to heaven. God said, He said, the Lord said, they gonna accomplish this here because they are one. You know what one means? One coming back together, one. See, that's why married couples are dangerous. He know. Because if you ever get together, ain't nothing he can do with you. Because he loves to, and especially the church. He want to throw that up in God's face. That's why. And I told you, somewhere in them 43 years, 42 years, 7 months, now, how many days? 21 days. We became one. I didn't know how. Oh, it wasn't like this when we first got married. You think it's automatic. It's not automatic. It's a work. It's a process. Everything is a process. Even what we do, we got to finish the work. He said, the works I do, you would do greater works. Pastor Ola been telling he was saying, why he said you would do greater works? So evidently the work is not finished. So who you gonna pass the baton to? See, your success, your steadfastness, is dependent on somebody else's success. You may not know it or not. Look at a relay race. That one that comes in fourth place, they come across the finish line. They couldn't get across there unless that first one did their best. Pass the baton on. Who you? And I like to ask the question, who you passing the baton on? Who is depending on you? I almost want to go back there and pick up that book, but it's depending on my legs to get me back there. See, God just, and you think about the body. He said, we are many members, but one body. And that's the whole thing, getting back to be one with the Father. I said, well, I didn't want to keep y'all long today. I know you gotta go. But I did want to encourage you. It's some old wine skin now. I had to see this here. I'm like, you're right. I had to change the way I think. You want to do something new. You don't want to do it with this here. You don't want to do it with this mindset right here. I got to change my mind. And I want to encourage you this morning. Change the way you think. You want something, you want the situations to change. See, it don't, everything starts right here. See, it's like, it's almost like looking at something, getting something. It starts right here. You have to change the way you think. And but I want to encourage you this morning. Let him change your mind. Yield. That he will change. Just tell him, change me, Lord. I want this new wine, but I know you can't put it in this here. I have to change the way I think. He want to do greater works in you. Amen. Amen. And I appreciate each and every one of y'all this morning. Amen. I didn't want to plan on being that long this morning, but I knew it's kind of cold in here this morning. But I just want to encourage each and every one of you this morning.